If you've ever even thought about learning to code, or if you're already a developer just wondering what the heck is next, then you're gonna wanna listen up. We are in the middle of this massive, monumental shift in how software gets made, and it's opening up a window of opportunity that we just haven't seen in decades. Okay, let's get into it. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. That sounds completely backward, right? Aren't all these AI tools supposed to be replacing coders? Well, the reality is so much more interesting than that. The AI revolution isn't closing doors. It's literally tearing down the walls that have kept millions of people out of this field for years. And today, we're going to see exactly how. So, let's start with anyone out there who's ever tried to learn coding and just gave up. Or maybe you felt too intimidated to even start. For you, everything is changing. For years, these four things have basically been the gatekeepers guarding the world of software development. They were the source of all the frustration, the confusion, frankly, the reason a lot of people quit. And now, AI is just knocking them down, one by one. Do you remember trying to memorize the exact perfect combination of colons and parentheses and quotes just to do something simple? Yeah, that's over. Now you learn by focusing on the logic, on seeing the right patterns. You just say, hey, read the contents of this text file, and the AI writes the perfect code for you. You get to focus on the what, not the nitpicky how. Oh man, and this gets to maybe the single biggest frustration for anybody new to coding. It's that moment where your code breaks and you get an error message that looks like a completely foreign language. Well, instead of spending hours digging through Stack Overflow, you now have an infinitely patient AI mentor. You just paste in the error, and it doesn't just give you the fix, it actually explains why it happened in plain English. Game changer. Seriously, how many brilliant ideas died before a single line of code was ever written? Just lost in the nightmare of trying to set up a development environment. That entire barrier, it's gone. With tools like GitHub Codespaces or Replit, you can go from an idea to writing code in literally minutes. All that friction is just gone. So the new reality for beginners is crystal clear. The focus has completely shifted from memorizing all this arcane syntax to actually building real projects. The learning curve hasn't just been flattened, it's been fundamentally supercharged. Okay, so what if you're already an experienced developer? You might be a little worried that all your hard-earned skills are becoming obsolete, but actually, the data shows the complete opposite is true. Your value is about to multiply. And look, the numbers really back this up. While beginners get a huge boost, experienced developers are seeing an even bigger one. We're talking up to a 3x productivity gain. And why is that? Well, it's because you know what to ask for, you can spot the subtle bugs in AI-generated code, and you can direct the AI to focus on the high-value strategic work. So this is the crucial point. AI doesn't replace these core skills. In fact, it makes them more valuable. All those years you spent developing pattern recognition, that gut feeling for debugging, your architectural judgment, those are now massive strategic advantages. The AI becomes your ultimate implementation tool, and it frees you up to focus on the high-level design and strategy that really create value. And get this, the field isn't shrinking, it's actually expanding. Roles like AI orchestration engineer or prompt specialist, these jobs didn't even exist a few years ago. For anyone who moves early into these new specializations, the opportunity is absolutely massive. Now, all of this builds up to a really unprecedented moment for entrepreneurs. You've got industry leaders saying this is the best time in decades to start a company in the developer space. And here's the reason why. We are watching a $3 trillion economy get fundamentally rewired in real time. And whenever that happens, the big incumbents become vulnerable, and nimble little startups have a real shot at building the next generation of essential tools. And this isn't just some theory. The revenue growth we're seeing right now has no historical precedent. GitHub Copilot hitting $100 million in annual recurring revenue, that's guaranteed income, in just 2 years was mind-blowing. Then you see companies like Cursor doing it in about a year. The market is just screaming for new AI-native tools. And the beautiful irony here is that you can now use AI to build AI tools. The barrier to entry has just collapsed. We're seeing solo founders build and scale products faster than ever before, tackling all the new unsolved problems this transformation is creating. Things like, how do you make AI tools work for entire teams? Or how do you debug complex AI agents? The opportunities are everywhere. Okay, this might just be the most exciting part of this whole shift.
If you're an expert in a field that isn't tech, say you're in healthcare or finance or logistics, your industry knowledge has just become a superpower. I mean, think about it. Most developers can write code, but they don't really understand the complex day-to-day workflows of your industry. You, on the other hand, understand the problems inside and out, but maybe you couldn't build the solutions. Well, AI is the bridge. It handles the implementation while you provide the critical domain knowledge. You are now empowered to build the exact tools that your industry desperately needs.
So the big question is, why is all this happening right now? The answer lies in where we are on the good old technology adoption curve. And the timing, frankly, is perfect. Just take a look at this timeline. We are right at that critical inflection point, moving from the early adopters into the early majority. This is the moment when a technology crosses that chasm into mainstream use. And historically, this is where the greatest opportunities are always found. And this is just the sweet spot. You're not so early that the tools are buggy and unproven. The innovators and early adopters have already worked out most of the kinks for you. But you're also not so late that the market is completely saturated. That massive wave of mainstream adoption is just now starting to build. And the data shows we're right at that tipping point. Look, over 60% of developers are already using these tools, which proves they provide real value. But that also means nearly 40% of the market is still up for grabs as the rest of the industry gets on board. That is an enormous runway for growth. So the crucial takeaway here is this. This isn't just a feeling, and it's not some marketing hype. This is a real, measurable transformation with clear, quantifiable evidence, from the unprecedented revenue growth to the massive market disruption. The window is open. And I'll leave you with a final thought, and maybe a little exercise. The next time you're using an AI tool, ask it this very question. Use the technology itself to understand the opportunity it represents. Because really, the question isn't whether this change is happening, it is. The only question left is, what are you going to do about it?